Hi everyone, I wish your day is fine. Today we're gonna start our first session of the novel. If this is the first time you hear the word novel, don't worry. It's like the story of all the previous years for you, but it's a bit longer with more chapters and more details. As you can see, the cover of the novel's title is The Prisoner of Zenda. And from the cover, you can guess what happened because on the cover we have two faces which are similar to each other with little differences, but until now we can't guess what happened with these two faces. But here we can start before the events. We can start with some part of the introduction. We can say about the story that it took place in Europe in an imaginary country called Ruritania. It's about a person called Rodolphe who was a wealthy and rich man, and he didn't need to work all the time. He decided to travel to Ruritania at the time of the coronation of the new king of Ruritania, but the new king couldn't attend the coronation because of a wicked, bad plan made by his half-brother, because Rodolphe looked exactly like the king as if they were twins. He was asked to act like the king. Did he accept? And what happened to the real king? And how did the story end? Let's read and see. So before we start with the first chapter, we need to introduce some characters. We can say that in this chapter and for all the chapters of the novel, we will meet some main characters. The first one, it will be Rodolphe Rossendal. Rodolphe Rossendal. He was 29 years old. He was a rich Englishman. He was a good swordsman and good shot, and he has a lot of skills in that part. He had been to German school and German university. He can speak a lot of languages, and he was from a good social position in his society. His brother, Rupert Rossendal, and we can say that he is his brother. He's a lord of Bursden, and he has a lot of duties and responsibilities. And we can say that this is some difference between Rodolphe and his brother Robert. What about Rose? Yes, this is a name that we will meet in the first chapter, in the first page. Yeah. So her name is Rose, and she's Robert's wife, and there will be a deep conversation between Rodolphe and Rose, and we will know what happened in that conversation. In this chapter, and in all the chapters, we will meet other characters like Rodolphe the Fifth. We can say two names. We can say that Rodolphe the Fifth or Rodolphe the King. So he is the new king of Ruritania, and we will know a lot of details about this part. He has been abroad for many years. He's almost a stranger for the Ruritanian people. After that, because we said that Rodolphe is the new king, so of course the king has guards. So we can say that Colonel Zapt and Freds are the king's loyal guards. By the way, these pictures are parts of the movie that you can see for the novel if you want. So after that, we have another name. We have the name of Duke Michael, and we can say that he is the king's brother. We can also say another name for him. We can say Black Michael. So if you hear this name as Duke Michael or Black Michael, it's the same. Another name, Princess Flavia. Yeah, she's pretty woman. She's very pretty and classy woman. She's the king's cousin, and this is like from the rules of the king. He will marry his cousin. So who will be the king? Will marry Princess Flavia. After that, we will meet another name, Antoinette de Mauban. So Antoinette de Mauban, she's a tall, dark, pretty widow woman. So that means that her husband is dead. She's tall, dark, pretty widow, and she has a relation with Black Michael. Do you remember who's Black Michael? Yes, yes, he's the king's brother. By the way, Antoinette de Mauban is a rich woman, but she needs more money all the time, and she is in love with Black Michael or Duke Michael. The last name we will meet in this chapter is Juan. Juan is one of the guards for Duke Michael. So he is the guard for Duke Michael's forest. And now we can start with what happened in the first chapter. One day at the breakfast time, Rose started a conversation with Rassendyll, and she talked with him about his life and how lazy and irresponsible he is, and that he didn't work at any time, and this is so bad for him. Rodolphe started to defend himself, saying that I enjoy a good social position. I had been to a German school and university. I'm a good swordsman and a good shot. I can ride any kind of a horse. I'm calm and sensible, and I have enough money for my needs. I'm a brother to Lord Burlesdon. I don't need work. I don't need to do effort to have my money. So why should I work? But Rose didn't accept his idea and told him that he needs to find a job even he has a lot of money. And she offered him a job with Sir Jacob, who will be an ambassador in 6 months, and it's very good chance for him to start his job, and she asked him to accept the job. So Rose didn't accept the way of Rassendyll's life, and she did something else. She offered him to work for Sir Jacob, who will be an ambassador in 6 months, and this is a good chance for him, and she asked him to accept the job. Rodolphe started thinking about it, and he got an idea to accept the deal. He told Rose that he would accept the job, but 6 months is a long time, and he wanted to find something interesting to do in that period. He remembered that he has read in the newspaper that Rodolphe V will be crowned at Stursloo in 3 weeks with great ceremony. So he was so excited to attend that party, to attend that great coronation in Ruritania. But of course, he wouldn't say the truth to his family. So he said to them that I would accept the job, but I have a long time. 6 months is a long time. So I will travel to somewhere in these 6 months, and then I will go back for the job. So he didn't tell his family the truth. He told Rupert and Rose that he was going for a walking tour in the Alps to write a book about the political and social problems of the area. Oh my God, of course, this is a great job. Rose and Rupert totally accepted this idea. And Rupert told him that this is the best way to introduce himself to the political life these days. Rassendyll packed his bags, and don't forget, he didn't tell his family the truth. He said that he was going to a walking tour to talk about and to write about the political and social problems, but that wasn't the truth. The truth was that he was going to Ruritania to attend the coronation of the new king. He was going to have fun. Then Rasandal packed his bags, and on his way he met a friend at the station. And while talking together, his friend left him and he talked to a tall, dark lady. Do you remember her name? Yeah, her name was Antoinette de Mauban. Antoinette de Mauban. She was a rich woman, but she was hoping to improve her situation. And he was in a relationship with the king's brother, his name Duke Michael. And she was going on the same train to Mauritania to attend the coronation. That's the same coronation that Radulf Rasandal went or wanted to go there. So after that, his friend came back to him and he said that you will have a lovely companion in your journey on the same train. But they didn't talk together ever in the train. So here, while he was on the train, he read something in the newspaper. He read in the newspaper that the coronation had been brought forward. It will be sooner, and it was to take place in 2 days' time. So he decided to change his plan. He will not go to the capital. He will not go to the capital right now. He will not go to the capital, which name is Stursloo, but he will change his place. He will be in Zinda. So he will stop at Zinda because, of course, the capital will be full of people and he will not find any hotels. So here, he will stop at Zinda instead of Stursloo, the capital. He booked in a small hotel for an old lady and her 2 daughters. When he started to talk with the 2 daughters and their mother, the old lady, he discovered that the lady was so sad that the new king wasn't Duke Michael, because she thought that Radulf, the new king, is almost a stranger and he has been abroad for a long time and he didn't live among the Ruritanians. But Duke Michael lived among them all years and every Ruritanian knows him well. And by the way, they mentioned that the person who will be the king is the same person who will marry Princess Flavia. So he guessed from their talking and conversation that we have here 2 brothers for 1 throne and 1 princess. Of course, there will be a problem there. While they were talking, someone came in the hotel. Someone came in and his name was Juan. Do you remember who was Juan? Yes, I can hear you saying the right answer. Juan was the Duke Michael forest guard. Yeah, he came to the hotel suddenly, and when he saw Rasandal, he couldn't say anything. He took a step back with a lot of surprise. He was shocked as he thought that Radulf Rasandal was the king who was in the Duke Michael's hunting lodge to be crowned on Wednesday morning. So, and then one of the 2 daughters started to talk and she said that we have a new visitor here, and she started to talk about Rasandal as a new visitor and he came from outside of Mauritania and like that. But Juan couldn't hear anything. He just was in surprise and he was afraid how that person has the same face of the king like that with just little differences. From Juan's reaction, we know that Rasandal has the same face of the king with small differences. Would that make troubles to Rasandal or make Rasandal's life easier in Ruritania? That what we would know next chapter. We will know if that makes Radulf's life easier or harder in Ruritania. But before I leave, we need you to have some questions just to check what happened in that chapter. So, some question you can answer from hearing the audio. But of course, some questions you need to read the chapter from some pages and of the chapter, and then you can read the chapter and then you can know the answers. So here we have some questions. You need to read silently and answer them, and after reading you can be sure about your answers. The first question is, who was Radulf Rasandal? Do you remember? Was he rich or poor? Was he responsible or not? Was he good swordsman or not? You can remember. Number 2, did Radulf Rasandal have a job? If yes, tell me why, and if no, tell me why. Number 3, did Rose like Radulf's way of life? Do you remember the conversation between Rasandal and Rose? Did she like his way of life? And what did she do after that? Number 4, where did Rasandal decide to travel and why? Do you remember the name of the place he went? Number 5, what did Radulf tell his family about his plans? Did he tell them the truth or not? Number 6, what was the difference between Duke Michael and Radulf the king? Do you remember the conversation between Radulf and the old woman and her 2 daughters about the difference between Duke Michael and Radulf the king? Do you remember? So, after answering these questions, at this point, we can say that we finished this session, and I wish everything is clear for you. Next time, wait for me, and I'm waiting for you.